Hey folks, check it out. We have frame tables in, that body I keep talking about is in, have the diff sitting there. I feel that's about where the diff is supposed to go, but it's probably gonna get some different tires and something. So, what are we doing? Well, it's a buddy of mine, so I'm basically just building him a chassis. He just wants a roller. He wants it mocked up with either a Turbo 350 and an LS is what he plans to run in there. So that's kind of what's gonna happen here. So, pulled out the frame table. I gotta find a front axle yet, because I think the way this thing is gonna go, the plan is gonna be a kick, channel, and basically bags in the back and just static, probably a suicide perch or something like that in the front. So basically when this car is aired out, it sits flat on the table, and then you air it up and that it just pivots off the front, and that'll be your ride height. Kind of pretty simple. We got some 2x3 steel. That's how we're gonna go about. And yeah, I don't know. Should be pretty fun. This is a body, I don't know. Somebody local was working on it, so I don't know. There's some things I wouldn't have done, but it is what it is. I don't quite understand what was going on in the back, because like right now I have it where I feel the axle is supposed to be, and you can see they had a notch on here, but I don't know that they were gonna, I don't really know what this was about. Maybe it was for a spring. Maybe the spring was gonna go through there. I don't really know. But regardless, we're gonna be chopping it all up because this body has a long way to go before it sits on the ground. I may have to throw some spacers on it or something, because I don't think that's going to clear the body on its travel on its way down. So have to see about that. I think, well, this is Chevy truck pattern, so I'm going to have to see what I have that, or if I can at least just bolt these things on backwards, because I think it'll at least offset it enough. I just hope it'll sit on the table. Otherwise I'll have to do something here and make a plate or something just so the wheels can like hang out and sit there. And then we'll have to just jump straight in and just kind of dig up, chop up what's been built here so this axle can go past. I guess this part's probably okay. Maybe the fella was thinking he was going to keep it so he could roll the back windows up and down. I don't really know, because it is got that little bracket over there down. So, but I think we can just lob the front and bring it up, and then we'll figure it out. I don't think I have to do much of anything with the body. It'll probably have to cut all the mounts away when I do the frame, but well, Buddy will actually figure out how he's gonna bolt that thing onto there. But anyways, I guess the first thing I'm gonna do is we're gonna chop up that body. Honestly, I think I should find wheels. I should try to do the wheel thing first, actually. I think what I'll do is I'll get the forklift over here. Now I can lift the body up, and I'll use the forklift to lift this and just see if I can just knock those off and just like stupidly just mount those on backwards, because I don't think I have wheel adapters for this. I have everything that goes the other way, but I don't think I have like, oh, maybe I do. I don't know if they're here or they're over on Rollies now that I think about it. I think I had something that went from Chevy to a Ford pattern. Oh, like this one here. No, that's Chevy to Ford. But that's small Chevy. I need Chevy 5-on-5. Chevy 5-on-5. What are these? These look small. Yeah, these are just run-of-the-mill Ford ones. Okay, well, let me find that. We'll bolt that up, and then we'll just jump straight into chopping up that bodies. Hopefully I can get the wheels out enough that we can actually get the body just sitting on the table, and then we'll get an idea how high up the wheels are going to be and how big this kick is going to be on the frame. All right, well, I'm going to do a lot of really quick, loose measurements just to make sure everything is, I want to make sure stuff's square. I kind of changed my plan here. I'm going to weld the diff to the table. That way I can take the wheels off and it won't really matter where they are. We can do a rough measurement where they're going to be, but I just want to see that this thing is somewhat the same. Same. Doesn't have to be perfect because there'll be some adjustability everywhere. So that thing's perfect. I just don't know left to right. Before I weld anything down, I want to make sure we're fairly square here. And we're not left and right. And it's not that important. but it makes it better that I can use my table, because this table's square, so it makes it good that I can use it just to make sure stuff is right. So we'll bump this thing over a bit here. Oh, did I go the wrong way? Oh no. We're doing the right thing here. All right. Perfect. Perfect. Guess I'll cut something. That'll work. Okay. I'll cut 2 pieces of 17-inch. They're just going to be 1 by 1, nothing special. I might just do an angle back so it can't move, but we'll start with that, and then I'm going to cut all the inner structure out of there. All right. Well, I'm going to do a super rough measurement just so I kind of know where the body's sat. We'll put the wheels back on to check it, but if I was to guesstimate, I don't know, I need something the same both sides here to measure from. Pretend that hole's there. This is, 11 3/8. Is that like about right? Well, not according to that, but let's try here. We are like 1 1/4 feet. It's 1.5 feet. So the body is a little out, but that's okay. Like that probably fixes it here. What did I say we were? 11 1/4-ish. That's okay. It's close enough. Anyways, because this has to go down, I'm going to undo what was done here. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's going to have to get notched. I mean, you kind of want a small notch, I guess, but if I chop this, we can just weld it back in. So, yeah, I'm going to come in. We'll just zing this. Just do a blind zing. Mind you, the dip is going to go in front of that. I'll blindly zing, blindly zing. That's what we're going to do. I am going to need to get this out of the way, and I hope there's enough swing on it that I can do that. Oh, just. Man, there's a little bit of, I don't know if I want to commit all that just yet. It's not bad. We're almost there. That it lays on the ground. I'm thinking he'll be happy with that, but I don't really want to dig into that lip if I don't have to at this moment. If he wants, we'll go that a little bit more, but I think I'll leave it at this, and we'll just shim the front up, and we'll leave it this little bit off the ground. It's almost on the ground, but it's not. So, because right now we just did this inner lip, but I haven't really touched the outside of the car. So if he changes his mind, we can actually still fix this. So, okay, I'm gonna square this thing back up and get some shims under the front here. Wow, this is definitely going to be a problem. I guess we'll just guesstimate it for now because the body is so loose and floppy. It's going to be like near impossible to just square it to the chassis. So I won't worry too much about it right now. I mean, I think it's going to be pretty close here. Yeah, more or less. All right, let's get some shims under there. All right, we're loosely basing this on an LS and then a rad. We got to figure out that. I know the motor itself is about 28 inches. So it gets us into that realm. And then I don't know, we have to figure out like a rad yet, how much room for a rad and a fan. Because this doesn't have to be perfect. We'll have to split bones, but it doesn't look like our kick is too crazy. Like I'll make it a little bit bigger, like so there's some room. We can put a bump stop in the back. Golly, man, that is gonna be one hump. That is a hump going through there. So again, the plan is to be static. So essentially this thing, let me just mimic this. If we are 28 inches, like this is pretty much in the realm. This would actually be okay. We don't have to overextend it, but it depends what we do. If I put the spring here, I mean, normally, traditionally it goes here. Like I have a Model A axle, but I don't quite have the right spring for it. And I can do a spring here, but I don't know if he wants to have the full suicide effect or what he wants. But we'll probably end up pretty simple, just kicking this a little bit up. I don't think we'll do any weird, crazy notch like step up, but yeah, I don't know. Like we're gonna have to ditch everything inside this body and make it all floppy like nobody's business. That is coming up yet. Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm all right with this. This is working. There are many ways to do this. We are gonna have to eventually cut out all this stuff in the middle. I'm not sure how he wants to fasten it. And this one usually has your tag. This is just the body number, but this is what a lot of people would use for the VIN because the VIN's normally on the motor. So, anywho, the way some people do this, they would just do straight shot and put a rail right there. It's just, I don't know. I like to have my frame almost like a perimeter frame. So I was just gonna make it, I'm gonna go like more or less to the firewall. I'll come a couple inches out. Maybe we'll go 3 because my steel's 3 and we can kind of figure things from there. But I pretty much figuring we're gonna do a 6-foot chunk. That way, and I like, instead of this, like just 2 straight sticks, I like to kick it in as much as I can. So I'm gonna go, like I say, it's gonna hit at this angle going across and then we'll square it out the front. But we'll go here at 6 foot and then from there we'll come up with our kick, which I don't know, I'm gonna make the 2 pieces first and then we'll slowly kind of make all the bits and then we're gonna cut all of our gussets to hold everything, but I'd like to try to at least get this and our kick up done and then the back is gonna be on bags, that's the plan. So that's what's gonna lift the body off. So yes, and then I guess we're gonna have some zany bars, that's for sure, because this is gonna have to all sit under the floor. So wherever the transmission mount is, I usually like to do a 2-link to that, because we're gonna do a 2-link on this one. So we're gonna follow that, but this sucker's gonna have like a 1-foot drop almost off the diff. So I don't know how much power he's planning to put on this and how he's gonna fit in here. So we're gonna have to figure out a few things. But yeah, for now, let's just cut 2 6-foot pieces, and then we'll cut all this stuff out. It's going to be a floppy, hot mess. Maybe I'll put a bar across here before I cut the floor out, and then at least this half of the body isn't going to do this kind of a dance. So, chassis, so far, we built our kick, came down, out the front. Honestly, I wanted it a little tighter, but I screwed up my miter. Shouldn't say I screwed up my miter, I measured wrong. Instead of inside gap that I did, I should have done out. So it's not what I wanted, but in the end, it's 4 inches narrower, which is not that big of a deal. So, yeah, it just gives us more room for floors and braces. Yeah, that's what we're gonna say. Anywho, that's there. Yeah, well, I've tacked this. I should tack this rail so it doesn't move. And then we got to figure out how we're doing the front here. And I got to kind of figure out the math here with a motor and a rad, but give ourselves a little bit of room in case I screw up. I feel like when I do the front, we'll kind of do those cuts by hand just so we can figure out this spring, because I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing yet, because the Model A, like you can see how much bigger the axle is on a Model A, like how much distance there is from the kingpin and whatever this mount is. And they're so much smaller on this style. I could use this axle, but it's pretty twisted, and that would be, I don't know. Maybe I'll just use this one for mock-up because I don't know. Maybe he wants to put a drop axle. Nah, I don't know why he would. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have any other axles that are loose. This one would work, but this one, if you put a traditional Model A spring in it, it would just work. I'm just trying to think. I have a spring, but unfortunately it's too small, but maybe I could mock it up with this particular spring. So when he gets a proper Model A spring, he can use it. I can just make longer shackles for now and maybe pull it off. I don't know. Like this here's a Model A spring, but for some reason, I think this is for like a T-bucket because it's like 29 inches instead of 31. So it just doesn't quite jive. So you can see, well, this doesn't help because this thing's too small. See how far it is from these things? But if you put it in this axle, you can see how much further yet it is if you were to try to change this out and put a normal thing in there. I should measure up just to see if I have any springs that actually just work. I do have a pile outside. I don't know. I'm just guesstimating because you'd have to do, man, do I even have the spring perches that go on there? I'm trying to think that through. If I even have all the bits here to make this work. I'm going to go look outside here really quick. See, actually, let me measure this distance because usually it's pretty close to here. So I'll just measure the distance in here and then we'll kind of guesstimate. The problem is the springs that I have would end up being really tall, but you know, if it's what it takes, it's what it takes. And then we can just pull those. They're not kingpins. I guess they're, I don't know what the pins, technically what you call that, but it holds your wishbone to your axle. We're going to split these because they are going to get mounted down there kind of thing, but yeah, I don't know. Our guesstimation here is, I need a spring eye to eye, 38 inches, 39 inches, something like that. All right, pile of springs. What do we got? This one looks way too weak. 43. So those are all long. This one, 37. So that might be usable. One beside it, 41. I think that's too long. One beside it, 42. This one, but it's just a beast. That one's like 38. So this one's more flat. That one's just crazy tall. Well, I'll grab that one. I mean, we're doing a suicide perch, so it can be pretty tall, but I'll try this first. And if not, we have this one, which is crazy high. Man, I don't think that spring is right. It's too close. I think by the time that thing hit a bump, it would just like get stuck. Like it would float here, but it would end up hitting the bone. And I keep looking. I mean, I don't really want... Part of me likes the idea of the spring out in the front. So, like the spring sat in the front. At least if the spring shackle, something broke, the axle would land on the frame. So it's not really a true suicide. Suicide perch is like the spring sits there. If the spring mount, something breaks, basically your frame just spears into the ground because there's nothing to stop it. A lot of time this frame would be hanging over this, so if something broke, it would just fall down to here and you're like kind of having a bad ride, but it's not suicide-y where it can go dunk and then make your car want to do weird things. All right, I'm going to keep hunting around, see if I have some other springs yet, but I think buddy boy here wants a little bit of food. Is that what you're here for? All right, well, thinking running around, found some pins, or I wouldn't call them pins, but spring perches. These gonna go through there. So I'm gonna do, what I gotta basically do first is get this apart, get these on there with some wheels so we actually know how high this frame needs to go up with our spring and stuff, because it's going to be static right now. And basically when that thing airs up, that's what's going to lift, and that's what's going to make the car's ride height. So I need to get this all in its zone right away. And yeah, we need that first. All right, I'm going to have to torch this thing, get that thing all apart, and I guess I'll use this axle, even though like it's not that bad. I mean, it can be straightened, but it looks like it's even twisted. Golly. Man. So the other option I have is, I just don't know if I like the idea of this huge mount coming out and then sandwiching. Well, it wouldn't be that bad. Like even the rails might be sitting over it, honestly. But I'm just wondering if I had this spring mounted in here. Maybe a bigger spring. Oh, that thing's heavy. Anyways, this spring, we cut this off, get that out. We can make a shackle. We can hit both sides like that, and then we have our spring mount like that. Because the idea is we have frame, spring perch, spring, and then rad, everything all goes in behind it. Kind of, I don't know, kind of an idea. Usually they go over with Model A, but again, like I say, I don't know that I have any loose axles. I'm just trying to find before we all get rained on here. I'll hunt around. Maybe I can find a straighter axle to play with, and then maybe work with that first. Like get that all sorted out. Model A axle that I think I can use for this mock-up. Fully equipped with everything worn out and good on it. And with any luck, I think I can make way too long a shackle, but at least it'll give the right idea. Perfect. Now I just got to find some wheels and lug nuts. All right, I am gonna go in for supper, but when I get back, I think what I'm gonna do is split these bones so they can go out. That way, this thing doesn't need to be that aggressive. It just looks like it because I'm going over the axle, but because we're doing a suicide perch, this will probably go down maybe 6 or 8 inches. As long as it stays below my scrub line, not that that matters, but if in case you get a flat tire, I don't want things to hit the ground, so yeah, well, I don't know where I'll do it, but I mean, the rail you're seeing way up here is actually going to be probably there. And then we make that mount that's going to go on top of the spring. So that's kind of the way that's going to work. So this is going to be straight stick, square, and then a mount that goes whoop, and it has just a claw on it kind of thing that's going to hold the spring. You'll bolt that down, and then technically I want to figure out a few things, because I've got to figure out the weight of the motor and all that jazz, because I do kind of want this thing to get as much height as I can, depending on the bag. I guess you could always do like a triple bellow where like there's the triple bags, like you can lift it pretty high. But I don't know, I'll have to see where it ends up on ground clearance and stuff like that. Because I can imagine the big picture, when this thing's like that, you got to do it like my Mercury truck, where the oil pan, you know, doesn't actually hit the ground. So, yeah, kind of neat. It's getting there. Pretty neat. That's got to go up just a little. Just a little. Tweak that a little bit. A little more. Oh, my bad. It's got to go the other way. All right, well, this is a little out of my norm, but I'm digging it so far. What do we got here? We got our kick. That is in. Nothing's fully welded. Everything's been stitched, and I just been kind of pushing, prodding, trying to get everything all square. So far, everything's looking really good. We have that can come out of there now. We do have that bit's all welded up. It's sitting down. We're, as square as she gets. So this is how this is going to go. I'm not exactly sure if the axle's staying right there or not. I kind of left a little more room, but for the kind of rod that it is, it's going to be fine where it's a little like stretched for me. But when you do a suicide perch kind of thing, you end up with like a longer front end. And then in the big picture, when things are done, you're going to have the steering's back here, but in actuality, you're going to flip them around and you have your, you'll have your messed up Ackerman, whatever they call that. So it'll like when one wheel steers this way, the other one steers a little more, but it's fine. You can set your stops, so that's not so crazy. But yeah, this steering arm will end up out in the front, and then we'll get our spring here. So then we'll have to build our perch to said spring. But I think I have to basically next round here, we'll have to figure out the 2-link, however that's going to happen. And then I'd like to get a motor and trans in it so that when I do the spring perch, I can kind of dial that spring perch in so that the weight of the vehicle is not, I can get the maximum lift out of here is what I'm shooting for. It's going to have ride height, but I want to make sure this thing has adequate ground clearance that when you hit bumps, it's not going to smack anything. So that's kind of the thought. But you can see what's going to happen. The wheels are back here, we're here. This thing's just all going to pivot, come up, and then this will lift off the ground. So nothing will be below the chassis. So if it does hit, it's just going to scrape. Not a big deal. But yeah, we got to fully weld everything and then build gussets for everything. This is kind of a high kick in my eyes. I kind of left room in case you wanted to go a little more, but and I extended this out because I don't know if realistically if you're going to drop anything behind there or do anything. I imagine if you did a fuel tank or something, we'd do it up on top. If not, you can hang it from behind. It's not a big deal. But yeah, we got to fully weld these. My nemesis are these miter cuts. I always struggle with those things, but I think I did pretty good on this one. Didn't have to do like a lot of fill. But we got to weld that up, clean it, and then make some gussets or fish plates, whatever you want to call it. And then like I say, I'm not doing a 4-bar or anything on here. I was going to do a 2-link to keep it super, super simple. But if for some weird reason, I gave myself a lot of room here if I just had to shorten this up and do that. But it's kind of like the feller's a big dude, so he's going to just need as much leg room and as much room in the car as he can. So I'm thinking a 2-link is going to be ideal for where we're at because it'll keep everything under the floor. And then when you extend, and then depending on where his seats are, because if I sit in here, I'm sitting back here already. And if he needs to go a little bit further, that doesn't give a lot of room from a feller from a seat here to this pan, like, if you had to do a 4-bar. So I think in 2 bar is going to be what it is. But on that note, that's been my day. I've been playing with that. So I'm thinking that is where I am going to leave this one. I need to get a few parts, but I might have some stuff to mock up next round here. But I got to get some heims. We'll make a tab for that. Those will go there. Figure out how to do my spring perchy thing, and then build the 2 linky part. And then we can kind of take this. Well, at this point, I think I can take this all off. No, we got to mock up the motor. We got to do the motor mounts and transmission. So that's kind of the next round, figuring out where that's going to go, because I want to know where the transmission is, and I'd like to make the link bars as long as I possibly can. That's just like the 70s pickup, 70, 72. Like, they had long trailing arms, so I want to do the same setup on here with a pan hard in the back, and then, well, it depends how much it lifts. Maybe we got to do a Watts link or something, but yeah. Alrighty. Well, thanks for watching, folks.